Hello, viewers out there. Thank God it's Friday. It's 4 p.m. and you're welcome once again to Sports Orbit. My name is Afa Acho, and on today's edition of the program, we'll start straight from Napoli, where yesterday, like we had earlier predicted, Victor Osimhen is now a Serie A title winner with Napoli. Recall that that 1-1 draw against Udinese last night gave Napoli their first Serie A title in 33 years. And who else but Osimhen? Napoli, of course, Udinese had gone ahead initially in that game, but Osimhen had to strike back for Napoli to earn a vital 1-1 draw to earn them their first Scudetto title in 33 years. Napoli went into the game needing at least 1 point to become Serie A champions for the first time since 1990. Also, it is their third league title after first emerging champions in 1987 and also 1990. Luciano Spalletti's men emerged champions with 5 games left to play in the season. Osimhen's goal against Udinese means he has equaled George Weah's record for the highest African goal scorer in Serie A with 46 goals. Also, he has broken Samuel Eto's record for the most goals scored by an African player in a single Serie A season with 22 goals. His target now is to finish as top scorer in the league, which will make him the first ever African to achieve this feat. And all we can say here is congratulations to Victor Osimhen, who has been in spectacular form all season for Napoli. And this is actually his third season right with Napoli, and finally crowning it up with a Serie A title. Of course, there have been speculations around Osimhen's future if he will still continue with Napoli in the Serie A, but it's looking more unlikely with clubs like United, Chelsea, and most recently PSG lining up for the Nigerian's hitman's signature. But by the end of the season, Osimhen is yet to make up his mind. It will be yet to be seen if Osimhen will remain at Napoli or make the move to look for another challenge in a different league. But once again, congratulations to Osimhen and Napoli. And of course, it was a night of partying last night in the city of Naples, where fans of Napoli all turned out in large numbers to the streets to celebrate this vital and crucial Scudetto title. Now, away from that, now to the Federations Cup, where Eyimba defeated Rivers United 5-4 on penalties in their Federation Cup round of 64 clash at the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium in Uyo yesterday. The game was originally scheduled to take place last week, but was postponed due to Rivers United Confederations Cup fixture with the Young Africans of Tanzania. The game ended 0-0 in regulation time with penalty needed to determine the winner. Imba scored all their 5 kicks while Rivers United netted 4, which ended the game on 5-4 on penalty. The four-time champions will face Plateau United in the round of 32. The round of 32 fixtures will be played next week, and the winner of the competition will represent Nigeria in the CAF Confederations Cup next season. Well, congratulations to Eyimba, who are currently coached by former Nigerian international Finidi George. Like we had discussed so many times on this program, it's yet to be seen if this year's Confederations Cup will actually go to a conclusion, because last season's Confederations Cup was inconclusive, and as a result, there wasn't a winner. And of course, the representative for the Confederations Cup was, I don't know how they arrived at that, but they picked Kwara United, who ended up representing Nigeria in that seat. But they didn't go far in that competition. And for Rivers United, who were Nigeria's last representative in that competition by virtue of dropping out of the CAF Champions League after emerging winners of Nigerian Professional Football League. Well, we hope that this year's Confederations Cup will be concluded and the winner will be able to make a good showing for Nigeria on the continent. Now, the NPFL is gradually drawing to a close, and tomorrow we'll see match day 17 of with match day 17. Of course, after that, for the upper week, the NPFL will finally come to a close. That is the second half. Recall that this is an abridged version of the league. So tomorrow is match day 17, and there are a lot of interesting matches lined up for this weekend. Actually, most of these matches will take place on Sunday, and if the producer has those, we okay. For now, maybe we'll take a look at those matches much later. But also, the Nigeria's Golden Eagles, the under 17, currently competing in the AFCON under 17 going place in Algeria, will be in action once again tomorrow. Recall that the Golden Eagles won their first game against Zambia in a 1-0, but lost the second game to Morocco, who have already booked a place in the quarterfinal spot. The other group opponent, South Africa, also defeated Zambia 2-0 in their second encounter, putting them level on points with Nigeria. And tomorrow's match against the Golden Eagles will be an all-out battle. And ahead of that encounter, South Africa's coach said he knows that it's going to be a tough battle coming against the Golden Eagles of Nigeria. The coach Duncan Crowe said his players are battle ready for their final group game against the Golden Eagles of Nigeria in the 2023 Under 17 Cup of Nations. The Amachimbos will face the Golden Eagles at the State Mohammed Hamlawi Constantine on Saturday. Crowe's boys got their campaign back on track following a hard-earned 3-2 win against COSAFA rivals Zambia on Wednesday night. The Amachimbos currently occupy third position behind Golden Eagles in Group B. The clash against the Golden Eagles will determine who joins Morocco in the quarterfinals of the competition. Crowe stated that his team will give their all against Ntuka Ubade's side. He said, "Nothing is done yet," and I quote him, "This is a tough group and anything can happen. We still have work to do, but at least now we have a win to work with. We will just need a draw in that match to get through," the tactician was quoted. Well, like I said earlier, tough encounter between the Golden Eagles and long-time rival South Africa. Like we have said so many times on this show, whenever it comes to an encounter between Nigeria and South Africa at all levels, be it the youth level, be it the women's, be it at the senior level, it's always a very difficult and interesting encounter. And for the Golden Eagles, it should be an all-out win if we must have any chance of making it to the quarterfinal. Because that, like we stated yesterday, these boys who have been assembled playing good football by Nduka Ogbade, and the target really is to qualify for the under 17 World Cup later in the year. And the first step to that is to ensure that they qualify for the quarterfinal. Recall that the last four teams in the competition usually make it to are usually the African representative when it comes to the World Cup. And the Golden Eagles will fancy their chances of making it to the World Cup. Well, that match comes up tomorrow, and here on Sports Orbit, we will be keeping an eye on that one. And we hope that at the end of 90 minutes, the Golden Eagles of Nigeria will emerge victorious and book a ticket to the quarterfinal of the Under 17 AFCON currently taking place in Constantine, Algeria. Now to some other news now that talking about Brazil. For the Brazil national team, a search for a coach has been on, and the Brazilians have been in the hunt for current Real Madrid boss Carlo Ancelotti. The Brazilians feel that they need Ancelotti to take them forward, especially with the kind of talent, in the Brazilian national team. And Brazilian Confederation President Ednaldo Rodriguez has reaffirmed hopes of hiring Real Madrid coach Carlo Ancelotti for the Brazilian national team. Rodriguez made it no secret Ancelotti is their choice to take charge of the Brazilian national team. He declared he doesn't have any kind of proposal, but we followed him up and also checked if he had any kind of desire. I have him as a plan A. I'm talking for the first time in a very open way, and it doesn't make sense to hide my preference. He further said that Rodriguez clarified that there is no firm proposal that has been made to the Italian. He said the contact between the people of Carleto, Florentino Perez, that's the Madrid president, and the CBF are taking place very slowly. He said, I try to be very ethical. I cannot approach any coach who has a contract with the club. We have tried to be patient and wait for the right moment to have a conversation and a meeting. And this also involves those who preside over the club have a direct contract. From the moment we receive the signal that it is also we will begin to speak, prepare for what can be a yes or a no. From there, we will have a plan B. He stressed the formal negotiations will begin as long as Carlo gives the okay when Madrid finish in the competitions they are currently in. Recall that Madrid are currently in the La Liga, but as it seems, Barca are already topping that league with, I think, 11 points, if I'm not mistaken. But Madrid are still in the Copa del Rey and also in the UEFA Champions League, where they are already in the semi-finals, scheduled for a blockbuster encounter against Man City. Hopefully, after all this is said and done, the Brazilian Confederation can begin formal talks with Cancelotti to see if he can be their next coach. Because that Brazil failed to live up to expectation in the last World Cup in Qatar. They were the team to beat. They were tipped to win that competition, but unfortunately couldn't get past the quarterfinal, just like they have done in previous years. And their South American rivals, Argentina, were eventual winners of that competition. And Brazil, since then, have been on the hunt for a top coach who they feel can take the national team to the next level. Anyway, we still have more stories to give you on Sports Orbit, but we will go for a short break, and when we come back, Sport Orbit continues. Don't go nowhere.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Sports Orbit. We make the world go round.
Right, welcome back from that break. It's still Sports Orbit, reaching you from Leadership TV. Okay, we were talking about match day 17 of the second half of the NPFL, and right now we'll take a look at those fixtures. Most of those matches will come up on Sunday. Interesting encounters. If you ask me now, if you take a look at your screen, Kwara United will be hosting Nasarawa United in that all-important North Central derby, while Plateau United will be at home to Remo Stars. El Kanemi Warriors of Maiduguri will travel all the way to the south to take on Aqua United at the Godswill Aquabio International Stadium, while Eyimba, the People's Elephant, will host Gombe United right there in Aba. Shooting Stars will take the short trip to Benin, where they confront current Group A league leaders, Bendel Insurance, in that interesting encounter. Bendel Insurance still unbeaten throughout the season and are topping currently Group A of the NPFL. Interesting encounter that will be Shooting Stars against Bendel Insurance, while for former champions, current champions rather, Rivers United, it will be an interesting South-South derby as they welcome neighbors Bayelsa United to Port Harcourt. For Enugu Rangers, they will travel to the North Central to take on Doma United, while Wiki Tories takes on Abia Warriors. Jakarta FC will be host of Group B leaders Lobby Stars out there in Uyo, while Niger Tornadoes will host Sunshine Stars of Akure. Interesting matchups if you ask me, but I think the match everybody will be looking out for will be Bendel Insurance versus Shooting Stars, and of course Rivers United versus Bayelsa United in that one. Rivers United only last week could not make it to the semi-final of the CAF Confederations Cup. And also, just yesterday, we were also knocked out of the Confederations Cup by Enyimba United. They will hope to get their campaign back on track and at least make it to the Super 6 when they take on Bayelsa United tomorrow in that one. Interesting matchups. All these matches come up 4 p.m. on Sunday, Nigerian time, and we will keep an eye on these matches on Monday. Hopefully, we'll give you a complete rundown and review of all the results and all the action as they take place. Now, of course, to some EPL news where yesterday United took the trip to Brighton where, it wasn't a lucky one for United after it felt like United had secured a vital away draw against Brighton. In the 9th minute of after added time, match went on 9 minutes of added time, and a sloppy mistake by Luke Shaw gave Brighton a penalty, which the Argentine World Cup winner Mark Allister put past David De Gea. And Luke Shaw has come out to express his disappointment following that 1-0 defeat to Brighton. He told MUTV, he said he was displeased to have given the penalty away. Talking about Brighton, he said they are a brilliant team, but I think if we look at the big chances we created in the first half, I think the game should be more comfortable, and if we score goals, then it makes life easier. I think, like I said, it's not just today, it's been in many of our games this season. But yeah, there's obviously no excuses. I was the one that obviously made the mistake at the end. So I take it on the chin, and I know I'm disappointed. Shaw has racked up 1 goal and 2 assists in 27 Premier League games this season. United are currently fourth on the Premier League table with 3 points garnered from 33 matches. Up next for the Red Devils is a match with West Ham on Sunday at the London Stadium. That should be a must-game win for United if they hope to, put a tight hold on the top four. We'll take a look at the EPL table currently to see how things stand currently and look at how the teams are faring after 33 games in the EPL. For Man City currently topping the points with 79 points after 33 games, having played a game less than second place position Arsenal, who have played 34 games with 78 points currently. Man City leading the love with 1 point, while Newcastle are third, 65 points behind, in third place behind Arsenal. This weekend, although Newcastle will be taking on an important encounter against Arsenal, Man United 63 positions are in fourth position, while Liverpool gradually creeping up, currently in fifth position, having knocked out Spurs from that fifth position. Brighton, who played United yesterday, are almost certain of going a place in Europe next season as they currently lie in sixth position. Of course, when you look at the other bottom half of the table, we have Fulham in 10th position, Crystal Palace currently 11th position, while Chelsea, things not looking so good for them in 12th position. Bournemouth in 13th position, while if you look at the bottom of the table, Southampton still rooted at the bottom of the table, while for Everton, still not out of relegation waters yet, despite the sack of former coach Frank Lampard. Nottingham Forest also in that 18th position. But still a lot to play for the likes of Leeds United, Leicester, and West Ham. Still not completely safe yet. And tomorrow, I'm sure after the match week 34 games, the dynamics at the top and the bottom of the table will definitely change. Now we'll go into this weekend's matches of the EPL. Interesting matchups. The EPL gradually coming to an end. Match day 34 rather is upon us, and first off it will be Man City who will be taking on Leeds at the Etihad Stadium. For Tottenham, it will be a London derby as they host Crystal Palace at the Tottenham Stadium. While Wolves will welcome Aston Villa, Chelsea will travel all the way to take on Bournemouth. Liverpool will host Brentford, while Newcastle versus Arsenal, second and third, will square off against each other at St. James Park. This should be an interesting encounter. If Arsenal has any hope of laying any claim to the title, they must ensure that they win this game against Newcastle. Well, for Newcastle, also very crucial because a sleeper from Newcastle, Man United, are also directly behind them. A sleep-up will see Man United take on the third position. Well, for United, they'll travel all the way to West Ham. It will be a difficult encounter. Also, West Ham, not an easy team, even though not doing too well this season, but has always been a problematic team for Man United. For Fulham, they will welcome Leicester City, currently Nigeria's Kelechi Iheanacho, who has been ruled out for a couple of weeks. But there's a vital update today from Coach Dean Smith, who gave the assurances that Iheanacho will likely return before the end of the season. Let's see how that pans out. Leicester will play against Fulham tomorrow at Craven Cottage, while Brighton will host Everton. And for Nottingham Forest, this will be a matchup of relegation strugglers. 19th and 20th will be 18th and 20th rather squaring up against each other. Nottingham Forest welcoming Southampton. Southampton will need all 3 points to give them any lifeline of ensuring that they swim out of relegation water. Interesting matchups coming up tomorrow on Sunday and of course on Monday, and we will be keeping an eye on all of these encounters, and hopefully on Monday we'll give you a review and complete results of all of these matches. Well, with that, we call it a day on today's edition of Sports Orbit, our Friday and last episode for the week. Don't forget, Golden Eagles of Nigeria will be in action tomorrow against South Africa. Here is wishing the Golden Eagles well, hoping that they get the vital 3 points needed to make it to the quarterfinal of the Under-17 AFCON. Until we come your way on Monday with another exciting edition of the program, do have a lovely weekend out there. My name is Afa Acho, and it's bye for now.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.